Hello, and good Monday morning. It is time for another episode of Money Mondays here with me at Unmarked Street and the business of apparel. Today, I want to talk a little bit about starting budgets for your apparel brand. We have been doing a little bit of research out there trying to figure out what other people are telling you is totally appropriate for a starting budget when it comes to starting your apparel brand. And I want to first say that we here are not talking about brands who are starting a drop shipping company. And we've been very explicitly looking at other people out there who are saying the same thing. Like, we're talking about brands who want to start something from scratch, like create a bespoke, custom, unique apparel line, something that they've made up in their head, something that they're bringing to life from scratch, not like nominating hats and tees and bottles and notebooks and things like that and putting a logo on it and then selling it with no inventory. So what we're talking about here is someone who is going to need to have a savings up front to be able to purchase inventory and hold inventory basically when they're starting their apparel brand. So if this is you, you have probably been seeing some posts online and maybe some videos on YouTube. We actually just watched a brand new video on YouTube kind of titled like what you need to start your brand in 2025. So super relevant, super new, like very recently posted. And a lot of people are saying that you can start an apparel brand with anything between $3,000 to $10,000. And a couple of other people from the industry and I have been raising our hands to say that's just simply not true. And so I really hate to burst the bubble for you if you've been out there thinking about starting an apparel brand and you've been watching those kinds of videos or reading those kinds of posts and you have been really excited by the fact that you're only going to need $10,000. I want you to know that that is potentially setting you up for huge failure. Now, I personally wonder if this is just helping to pull people into their programs because I can only imagine how exciting that must feel like to hear that you only need $10,000 or less to start your apparel brand. And so I'm going to go learn from this person how to do it. And I just don't see how it's possible unless you are doing everything yourself. And I will say that when I'm watching these videos and I'm reading the content, they are actually encouraging you to do everything yourself. So you need to learn how to do product creation. You need to know how to do design, development, fitting. You need to understand how to manage your production, how to communicate with your factory properly. You need to understand how to build a business plan, how to build a budget. You need to understand how to, did I already say negotiate your costing? If so, that's because it's really important. You also then need to understand social media and marketing and PR, and you need to understand how to maybe tap into athletes or influencers or celebrities to help you endorse your brand. You then also need to understand how to sell your goods. All of that is not possible for one person to do. Look, even if you are the most brilliant person on the planet and you are able to learn things at a breakneck speed, and you are able to take whatever main skill that you have, like let's say maybe you are a social media manager already. So you already know what it takes to build a social media following. You already know what it means to build community. You already know what it means to batch content and build content and be a content creator and get likes and get engagement and do all of that work. Let's say you're that person and you have an idea to build an apparel brand. How are you going to also then be an expert on sales? Because I'm going to tell you right now, social media marketing or any kind of marketing is not the same thing as sales. It might be similar to PR, but sales and marketing are two different things and it's two different skills and they go hand in hand, but you have to understand both. On top of that, I really challenge you to ask yourself if you're going to be a great product creator when it comes to it. Because while you might have a design in your head and you might be able to leverage your factory to help you with a couple of things, there are a few things here, and we've been talking about this for a while. Number one, if you only leverage your factory to build your tech packs for you, to do your product development for you, and to do your fit for you, you are relinquishing all control and all ownership of your own product line. You're basically handing it over to them. And that is just a huge risk that you are taking for your brand in legal terms. You, without the ownership of that, because you didn't actually do any of the product creation work yourself, you didn't own the documentation, you didn't mandate a quality standard, you didn't mandate a fit standard. You have no legs to stand on when it comes to whatever you receive in production. You could order pink, and if it's not documented by something that you put together, and they can send you blue, and you have no legs to stand on. And it is a legal nightmare to not be responsible for your own product creation, your own product development. And so I really challenge you, and I wonder, if you are this amazing social media manager, are you also going to know how to fit a garment properly to the point where you can get through just a couple of fit rounds, have it fit the body exactly how you want, and then be able to sell it to your customer? And so those of us who have been in the industry for a really long time, we've been kind of chatting over on the side going like, have you seen this post, or have you seen this video? Can you believe they're saying that you can do this for $3,000? Can you believe that they're saying you can do this for just $10,000? Can you believe they're telling people to do it all themselves? Even if you could learn, even if you were a social media manager and you could learn how to fit your garments or how to read a garment well enough to tell your factory exactly what needs to happen to the pattern so that it fits the way that you want it to, good Lord, are you going to burn yourself out so fast if you are trying to do all of those different things yourself? So those of us who have been doing this for a really long time are kind of over here having these other discussions. And we've got a couple of different podcast episodes coming out soon, especially between me and Heidi Weinberg, who have been having this discussion online quite a bit, just kind of challenging the notion of, do you really think you can get away with getting this done for $10,000? Now, we here at Unmarked Street have been putting together a ton of research on this because we started to see some of this happening at the end of 2024. Clearly, it's still happening here in early 2025. And so we went to work not just like to debunk this because we know it's not true. We wanted to put actual facts and numbers behind it. So we've gone to work over the last several months really trying to figure out, like, what would it look like if you started with just $10,000? Number one, of course, you're doing everything yourself. So you have no time. Like you're probably working like 100-hour week. Like it's going to be freaking crazy for you. But the main issue that we see when we really map it out is that $10,000 doesn't get you the amount of inventory that you need to really start building a big business quickly. Now, and you might say, I don't want to build quickly. I just want to build over time. I want this to be a slow thing. But the most brand owners that we've polled and that we've talked to don't want to build slow. They're building a brand because they believe that, number one, they have a great idea. They have something that can serve their community. But number two, they believe that entrepreneurship and starting a small business will be a benefit to their life and their family's lives. And if you are building that slowly and you don't have enough inventory to be bringing home big profits in chunks of profits at a time, you will not have the opportunity to grow quickly. You might not even hit your first $1 million year until you're 11 or 12. Are you willing to wait that long to make your first $1 million year? Because I'm here to tell you that as a small business owner myself, I jump into so many different coaching programs. I read as many friggin' books as I can about entrepreneurship. There is a consistent thread where the people who are making 8 and 9 figures over here or 7 figures over here are all writing the books. They're all making the content. They're all teaching us who are just starting out that being a 6-figure company of any kind, and that even means like $900,000 a year, equals a poor brand owner, because all of that money goes into the business and it goes into team and it goes into expenses and it goes into taxes and fees. And you are not paying yourself a decent enough salary. Even when we look at $1 million business, you might only be bringing home such a small fraction of that as you need to be able to run your business. So if part of your plan is to start an apparel brand so that you can also be successful, you can bring home a salary that rivals anything you could ever do at corporate, then I really challenge you to think about the slow growth plan. And if you're only starting with $10,000, so you're only buying a few hundred units of whatever your first couple of products are, even if you sell them all at a high margin percentage, the profits that you bring in are not going to be big enough to propel you forward fast enough to be making the kind of money that most brand owners we talk to want to be making by year 5, by year 10, by year 15. And so a lot of those brands, because they get frustrated because they're growing too slow, they're not making the right amount of money, they're not actually paying themselves, they're not seeing good profits. Because of that, we watch them close their doors. And so at the end of the day, that is why the stats are really, really high on apparel brand owners who shut down within the first 3 years of the business. The percentage is anywhere from 82% to 90%. I've read so many different papers and different articles on all of this, and the average percentage goes anywhere from 82% to 90% of apparel brands close within the first 3 years of business. And it's mostly because of this, because they're being told that they can start with such a low amount of money, buy a small amount of inventory, and eventually grow from there. And again, I'm here to tell you that sure, you could do that, but it's going to take you a really long time to get to the point where I know you want to get to, because we've talked to so many of you. And so I really want to challenge the fact that, number one, you cannot do it all yourself. You need to have a budget to hire a team. And so if you are that social media marketing expert, you can take that off of the spending plate, right? You don't need to hire that team member. But I will always really encourage you to hire an expert when it comes to product development, an expert when it comes to production management with your factory, and an expert when it comes to sales. Because if you're not hitting your sales goals when your inventory actually comes in, then you also don't have a business. You have to be making revenue. And so if you don't know how to sell, maybe you know how to market, but you don't know how to sell, that is going to be another big detriment to your brand. So again, I'm just really out here challenging all of that notion. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about the tools that we've been building for you so that you can come over and get some advice from people who are over here going, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think you should be taking that advice because I just don't think it's setting you up for the kind of success that you need. I also really, just one last point, I really want to challenge that if you're only willing to raise or save $10,000 to start a brand new business and it's a product-based business, this is going to sound really harsh, but I really want to challenge if you're even serious about it. Like, are you taking this seriously? I, for better or worse, I would argue that you're not. I just don't think that you understand how much capital it's going to take, how much blood, sweat, and tears it's going to take to build this brand and build this business. It's not easy. And so if you're only willing to raise $10,000 to do this work, I don't think you're taking it seriously enough. And I don't think you understand how involved this is going to be, not just time-wise, but monetarily as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about this next week, but I just wanted to kind of debunk some of that stuff that's out there. And if you're reading that and you're getting really excited about it, I just want you to kind of second guess and really think about whether or not you feel like you can take on every single role in your business, even if someone tells you that they can teach it all to you. Do you have the bandwidth, the sanity, the time to actually do that, even if they teach you how to be an expert in all of those different things? I will tell you, as a brand owner, as someone who tried to start my own apparel line, as someone who is running an agency, running an education platform, the answer is absolutely not. I am so lucky that I hired the team that I did when I did, and that I hired them before I thought I needed them, because that is the number one contributor to my success. So leaving you with those thoughts today. I hope that this wasn't discouraging in any way. I just want you to be really smart about what you're doing if you are out there thinking about building an apparel brand, or if you are building an apparel brand. So more next week. I will see you then. Have a great rest of your week and talk to you next week.